What is a students' union? Students' unions can be traced back to the Dark Ages to what were called the nations at medieval universities across Europe. In the UK, Oxford University had two nations, the Australes for students originating from below the River Trent, and the Boreales for those from north of the river. The two nations quarrelled constantly, and were eventually disbanded in 1274 because fighting, but the point of them was to create a community for students from similar backgrounds and represent students to the university masters on a variety of issues. Fast forward to 1884, with the founding of the first students' union in the UK, the Edinburgh University Union by Robert Fitzroy Bell. The union was formed to represent students and their issues to the university staff, and this is still very much the case today, whether it's an individual representative enacting change, or collective action from the student body to process student issues. In 1974, they merged with several other representative bodies on their campus to become what is the current University of Edinburgh Students' Association. Student unions are run democratically, meaning that the leaders of each SU, known as sabbatical officers, or SABs for short, is democratically elected each year, usually by the alternative vote system, and SABs come in all shapes and sizes up and down the country. As of the 1994 Education Act, have fun reading, students' unions were made a necessity for universities in the UK, and most are now fully registered charities, with the University of Portsmouth Students' Union being the first to be made a full charity in 2010. Most students' unions across the UK are also affiliated to the National Union of Students, to help represent them on a national level and organise nationwide campaigns. Together, students' unions have done incredible things, such as leading the anti-apartheid movement from the 60s to the 80s in the UK, campaigning for the rights of the LGBT community, and fighting against cuts to the disabled students' allowance. But, say you, I'm not interested in all of that political stuff and making major changes. I just want to make friends, have somewhere to hang out, and get that sweet, sweet student discount I've heard so much about. Well, most students' unions now exist in a building on your campus, like the brand new Student Centre at Bournemouth University. Students' unions often have bars, where you and your friends can drink subsidised snakebite, or if you're in the cold north, diesel. And if you're not into alcohol, then that's awesome, because you can drink tea, coffee, fraps, and a whole host of other drinks at one of your union's cafes. And the profits go back to the students' union, because charity, to support the awesome activities that go on at your students' union. Activities like your Freshers' Fair, salsa dancing, and if you're lucky enough to be at the University of Loughborough, Raveminton. Did I fail to mention that they will often have hundreds of student societies available, from your typical academic societies that are related to your course, to the more crazy clubs like Curry Appreciation Society at the University of Bath, to the Zombie Apocalypse Survival Society at the University of Manchester. And don't forget the more competitive sports clubs too, which will compete against other universities across the country. And finally, if you do ever have a problem with your course, your study, your accommodation, don't forget to check in with your Students' Union advice team too, who will have a range of knowledge on how to deal with the problems. So make sure you get involved at your Students' Union and have fun over the next 3 years.